When danger arrives, it doesn't ask who you are or what you own. It doesn't care about your bank account, your title, or your fears. In that moment, all that matters is who you choose to be. There comes a second in life, just one heartbeat, where courage speaks louder than logic, where instinct says, run, but purpose says, stand, where the body hesitates, but the soul moves first. Sacrifice isn't loud. It doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't wait to be understood. True strength shows up when someone else's future matters more than your own safety. When you realize that protecting life, any life, is the highest form of wealth. Some people measure success in money. Others measure it in power. Life carries responsibility in ways most people never think about until the moment arrives. Some lives are not defined by titles, influence, or recognition, but by quiet obligations that wake them up every morning. These are lives measured not by what they own, but by who is waiting for them to come home. Responsibility is invisible to the world, yet heavy enough to shape every decision, every risk, every sacrifice. When someone depends on you, your life is no longer just yours. It becomes a bridge between survival and loss, hope and despair. There are people who move through life without applause, carrying the weight of others on their shoulders. They don't ask to be heroes, and they don't announce their struggles. They simply understand that if they fall, someone else falls with them. A child waiting at a window, a future yet to be born, a promise made in silence. These unseen connections turn ordinary lives into essential ones. Responsibility transforms fear into caution, courage into necessity, and survival into duty. In moments of danger, responsibility speaks louder than instinct. It reminds the mind that running away may save the body but destroy a future. It forces the heart to calculate consequences beyond pain. This is why some people stand when others flee, not because the status fades, money disappears, and praise is forgotten, but responsibility endures. It binds a person to purpose even when no one is watching. It turns existence into commitment and life into something that must be protected at all costs, not for glory, but because someone else's tomorrow depends on it. Courage is often misunderstood as something automatic, like a reflex that activates in moments of danger, but true bravery does not work that way. If courage were an instinct, everyone would react the same when fear appears. Yet fear freezes some, drives others away, and pushes a few to move forward despite every warning in their body. This difference exists because courage is not born from the absence of fear, but from a conscious decision to act while fear is fully present. The heart races, the mind screams for safety, and still a choice is made. Fear is honest. It signals risk, pain, and possible loss. Courage does not deny these realities. It acknowledges them and steps forward anyway. The presence of fear actually proves that bravery is real, because without fear there would be no sacrifice involved. What transforms fear into action is purpose. Purpose gives direction to courage and meaning to risk. When someone understands why they must act, the fear does not vanish, but it becomes secondary. In critical moments, instinct urges self-preservation, but purpose introduces responsibility. It reminds a person that the moment is bigger than comfort and the outcome matters more than safety. This is where courage separates itself from impulse. It pauses, evaluates the cost, and still decides to move. That decision is not loud or dramatic. It often happens in silence, in a fraction of a second, inside a mind battling its own survival. Courage is choosing action while fully aware of consequences. It is standing when retreat is easier, speaking when silence feels safer, and protecting when escape is possible. Purpose gives courage its strength, turning fear into fuel instead of a barrier. In that choice, bravery is not accidental. It is deliberate, personal, and deeply human. True strength is often mistaken for dominance, physical force, or the ability to command others, but real power reveals itself in far quieter ways. It appears when someone is willing to give up comfort, safety, or advantage so that another person does not have to suffer. Sacrifice is the purest form of strength because it demands something in return: loss. Anyone can act when there is nothing to lose, but only the strong can choose to lose something for the sake of others. Sacrifice requires awareness of consequence. It is not reckless or blind. It understands exactly what is being risked. Time, health, opportunity, pride, and even life itself can become the price. What makes sacrifice powerful is not the pain it causes, but the intention behind it. It is a conscious decision to place another person's well-being above one's own. In that moment, strength shifts from self-preservation to protection. Protecting others is not always dramatic. Often it happens in silence, without witnesses or recognition. It may mean enduring hardships so someone else can have stability, absorbing danger so another can remain safe, or standing in harm's way so fear does not reach those who depend on you. This kind of strength does not seek validation. It operates on principle, not reward. Sacrifice also demands emotional resilience. Letting go of personal desires, dreams, or safety creates internal conflict, yet strength persists through that struggle. It is easy to admire sacrifice from a distance. It is far harder to live it daily. Still, those who embody it understand that real power is not about what you can take, but what you are willing to give. In choosing to protect others at personal cost, strength becomes purposeful. It transforms survival into service and power into responsibility. That willingness to bear the weight so others do not is what separates true strength from mere force. Wealth is commonly defined by numbers, possessions, and visible success, but these measures collapse when tested by crisis or loss. Money can buy comfort, access, and security, yet it cannot purchase character. When circumstances strip everything away, what remains is not what someone owns, but who they are. True wealth lives in qualities that cannot be stolen, spent, or destroyed. Courage, integrity, and humanity form a kind of richness that no currency can replicate. Courage is wealth because it allows a person to face uncertainty without surrendering to fear. It enables action when outcomes are unclear and strength when conditions are hostile. Unlike money, courage grows the more it is used. Each decision to stand firm adds value to a person's inner life, creating confidence rooted in experience rather than status. Courage turns ordinary individuals into dependable ones, and dependability is priceless. Integrity is wealth because it creates trust. A person who keeps their word, even when it is costly, builds a reputation that outlasts material success. Integrity anchors decisions in principle rather than convenience. It guides behavior when shortcuts are tempting and silence would be easier. This consistency forms a moral foundation that supports relationships, leadership, and self-respect. Without integrity, wealth becomes hollow. With it, even modest lives carry dignity and meaning. Humanity is the richest form of wealth because it connects people beyond transactions. Compassion, empathy, and respect turn survival into shared existence. Humanity allows someone to see value in others without calculation or gain. It reminds us that life is not a competition to accumulate, but a responsibility to care. When courage, integrity, and humanity guide a life, wealth becomes measured not by what is held, but by what is given and preserved in others. Character is easy to perform when conditions are comfortable. Words come effortlessly, promises sound convincing, and values appear solid when nothing challenges them. It is only when pressure arrives that truth begins to surface. Crisis strips away preparation and pretense, leaving behind instinct, belief, and choice. In these moments, people do not rise to who they pretend to be, they fall to who they truly are. The mask dissolves, and reality takes its place. When fear, urgency, or loss enters the picture, there is no time to rehearse morality. Decisions must be made quickly, and those decisions reveal priorities more honestly than any speech or reputation ever could. Some choose self-preservation, others choose responsibility, and a few choose sacrifice. None of these choices are accidental. They are reflections of values shaped long before the crisis arrived. What someone does in a critical moment is not created by the emergency, it is exposed by it. Crisis also reveals consistency. Those who live with integrity act the same under pressure as they do in peace. Their behavior does not shift because the situation changes. Their principles remain steady. Others, who rely on image or convenience, find their values collapsing when tested. Stress does not invent character flaws, it magnifies them. It shows whether kindness is conditional, courage is performative, or responsibility is situational. These defining moments often pass quickly, but their impact lingers. A single decision can redefine how someone is remembered, trusted, or relied upon. Even when no one is watching, character still shows itself. Crisis does not care about intentions or explanations. It only records action. In that instant of choice, the truth stands clear. Character is not what we say we believe, but what we do when it costs us something real. Legacy is often imagined as something built slowly over years of effort, recognition, and achievement. But some of the most powerful legacies are created in moments that last only seconds. In a single instant, a choice can redirect lives, alter futures, and leave an imprint that time cannot erase. These moments arrive without warning, offering no rehearsal and no second chances. What defines legacy in those seconds is not preparation for praise, but readiness to act with selflessness. A selfless decision carries weight because it places meaning above self-interest. It does not calculate reward or recognition. It responds to necessity. In that instant, personal comfort becomes irrelevant, and responsibility takes the lead. The decision may seem small to the one making it, but its impact can ripple outward in ways never fully known. A life protected, a future preserved, or a path changed becomes part of a story that continues long after the moment has passed. What makes these seconds unforgettable is their permanence. Words can be revised, reputations rebuilt, and mistakes corrected, but choices made under pressure cannot be undone. They stand as proof of character, courage, and values. Even when forgotten by the world, they remain alive in the lives they touched. A single act of selflessness can inspire gratitude, strength, and courage in others, becoming a reference point for how to act when it truly matters. Legacy is not always marked by monuments or memory. Sometimes it exists quietly in the survival, confidence, or hope of another person. That is the power of one selfless decision. It transforms a fleeting moment into a lasting influence, proving that a lifetime is not always required to leave something behind that endures.